ਦੇਸ਼ ਵਿਦੇਸ਼ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੈਠੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਪੀਟੀਸੀ ਦੇ ਦਰਸ਼ਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਨਿਊਯਾਰਕ ਦੇ ਪੀਟੀਸੀ ਸਟੂਡੀਓਜ਼ ਤੋਂ ਪਿਆਰ ਭਰੀ ਸਤਿ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ। ਮੈਂ ਹਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਹੋਸਟ ਗੁਰਮੀਤ ਸੋਢੀ ਔਰ ਹਰ ਹਫਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੀ ਪਰਸਨੈਲਿਟੀ ਨਾਲ ਮਿਲਾਉਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ which gives us a little insight on something we don't sometimes think about ਜਾਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਐਜੂਕੇਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਕਈ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ but we try to not look at them or we just don't know about it or ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਗਨੋਰ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ directly, indirectly, consciously, subconsciously, but we do. ਮੈਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਰਹੀ ਹਾਂ talking about spying. That's right. ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ security ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਨੇ ਆ we think about it ਕਿ ਹਰ ਥਾਂ ਤੋਂ we think that we're secure. Whatever we do ਉਹ ਸਿਰਫ ਸਾਨੂੰ affect ਕਰੇਗਾ ਸਾਡੇ ਇਲਾਵਾ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ ਚੱਲੇਗਾ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੀ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ what we're doing. But did you really think that you're that safe in what you do? Especially ਅੱਜ-ਕੱਲ ਦੇ ਸਮਾਰਟਫੋਨਸ ਨੂੰ ਅਗਰ ਦੇਖ ਲਓ ਅੱਜ-ਕੱਲ ਦੇ ਕੈਮਰਾਜ਼ ਨੂੰ ਦੇਖ ਲਓ ਸੋਸ਼ਲ ਇੰਟਰਨੈਟ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਨਾਮ ਜਾਂ ਨਾਂ ਪਾਉਂਦੇ ਹੋ ਜਾਂ ਆਪਣਾ ਫੇਸ ਦਿਖਾਉਂਦੇ ਹੋ ਬਲੀਵ ਇਟ অর ਨਾਟ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਰੋਡ ਤੇ ਵੀ ਚੱਲ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ someone is watching you and then think about it ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਅਗਰ ਵੈਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਲੈਣ ਜਾਓ out of all the places Disneyland ਤੇ ਜਾਓ someone is watching you there too. What would they want to know there is beyond me. But with that, I will introduce you to our guest today who's not just going to talk to us about spying. He's an IT guru. He's an author who wrote a book. And now he's going to educate us about the government and the way they are looking at us. I'm talking about none other than Raj Goel. Hi, Raj. How are you?
Hi, Gurmeet. I'm very good. How are you?
Very well. It's a pleasure having you here with us today.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. So, Raj, let's talk about this first. Over 3 decades you've been in the IT, okay? Mm-hmm. People know you as IT guru. Everyone I've spoken to, I got introduced to you. When it comes to IT, Raj is the guy who knows it all, okay? And then you even launched a book, okay? The most important secrets to getting great results from IT, or from it, as I called it when I saw it,
That's
of course.
fine.
And you have your own company for over 2 decades, Brainlink,
Mm-hmm.
okay? Tell me a little about all of this first.
Well, I'm a child of the 80s. I grew up, when 1983 was the year when Time declared the personal computer Man of the Year. So I grew up with computers since I was 13, and starting an IT company was the most natural thing for me mm-hmm. because it's where my talents and my passions lie.
Okay.
And when it comes to writing a book, I think like most of us, I was a frustrated author for over a decade. Mm-hmm. And about 3 years ago, a friend of mine challenged me. He said, you either put up or shut up.
Okay.
So in about 2 months, I basically blocked everything off, wrote the book, had it published. It's available on Amazon. Mm-hmm. And I thought I was doing it for me. And what I learned in the hindsight is it's one of the best things I've done for my business and for my family. It's gotten us great clients. People get to see who we are. It's gotten me great exposure around the world, television, interviews, and so on. And what I really learned is as a business owner, by putting my thoughts in print, writing it out, I got to look at my thoughts, organize them logically in a way my prospective client reader could understand. Mm-hmm. And this let us have conversations with people at a whole new level.
Okay.
So, whatever your passions are, write a book. In fact, I'm working on books 2 and 3 right now.
Really?
The writing bug has bit me hard. I write every month, and some days I won't write at all. Some weeks I'll write 2 or 3 articles. So now we're going through my last 5 years of writing to pull narrative themes
okay.
For privacy and security.
Well, I have read about you and I have read the stuff that you write. And you do write very well. And years ago, had someone told me that Raj is going to write a book one day, I would be like, really, Raj? But you know what? It is a great book. It does give you an insight on things that we don't normally think about. But I think it's also good because as an author, it also gives you a way to look at things and like you said, put your thoughts down in an organized manner. Mm-hmm. So it makes you re-look at things. So now going from IT, okay, writing a book, mm-hmm. talking about all of this, what made you come up with the article when you wrote about Disney and not Uncle Sam, the government, mm-hmm. The Big Brother, watching on us through Disneyland? Okay, where did that come from? It was very catchy, and that is the article that caught me. That we're talking about Disneyland, mm-hmm. what does that have to do with spying?
Sure.
So where does that come from?
So I've been writing about spying and surveillance now for almost 2 decades, but over 18 years.
Okay.
It started in 1997. I was working on a security project for a health insurance company, mm-hmm. and I had to study federal laws for HIPAA and privacy and security. And as I read through those, I really got a first grade education in the legal and technical landscape for privacy and security in the United States.
Okay.
And when I looked at the rise of Google and Facebook, and this was back in 2005, I did my first presentation, Is Google Spying on You? Mm-hmm. Because I could not understand how Google and Facebook could exist in America since we have the Electronic Communications Privacy Act of 1986. Mm-hmm. This law was passed in 1986 when Reagan was president, mm-hmm. when a 386 was the best computer you could buy, and CompuServe owned was the proto-internet. Mm-hmm. And the law literally states, it's still the law of the land today, and here's what the law states. Any email you write mm-hmm. that is over 6 months old,
okay,
it's considered abandoned property.
Oh.
So law enforcement can get it without a subpoena, without a warrant.
Okay.
They can literally go to your provider and say, give me all the copies of Gurmeet's emails that are over 6 months old. It's, when you take, let's say...
Only government...
Only U.S. law enforcement
can. Not an average person.
Not an average person.
Still, okay.
And the law also says that anything held in an online database has 0 days of privacy from law enforcement.
Okay.
So, let's put it in a home context. Mm-hmm. Say garbage. When you take your garbage, put it out of your house, that is protected private property.
Okay.
But the moment you put it on your curb for garbage to pick up, anybody can go through it.
Really? When
it comes to cars, when you park on your driveway, you're protected from government agents secretly installing GPS trackers on your car unless they have a court order. Mm-hmm. If they have a judge's approval, they can do anything they like.
Of course.
But if you put the same car in front of your house on public streets, any cop, any FBI agent, any government agent, or private entity could put trackers on there because now it's on public property. So there is a disconnect between what technology companies and tools want us to do. And if Facebook wants you to Facebook your entire life, Twitter wants you to put your thoughts out the moment you think of them. Instagram wants, Instagram's people who can't read, so they want you to take pictures of everything. Yeah. Google wants, what does Google tell you?
Everything.
When you log into Gmail, it says never delete email.
Yeah.
And they're right. They give you so much free space, you never have to delete email. Mm-hmm. What they don't tell you is that by using Gmail, you are giving up your First, Fourth, and Fifth Amendment rights. Mm-hmm. Because if I say something to you in privately with the cameras off, it's protected speech. Mm-hmm. I say it on television, it's no longer protected speech. Yes. So the use of internet and social media, or just using email, for example, mm-hmm. which everybody uses, mm-hmm. you are effectively your own mini TV or satellite station, and everything you're saying, all your thoughts, all your writings are broadcast to the world. And you could say the law is 27 years old, it's 1986, who cares? Except that the Clinton White House, the George W. Bush White Houses, the Obama White House, they've all fought in court to upheld the law to give their executive branch and the law enforcement entities unlimited access to our information. Mm-hmm. And part and parcel of that, the government wants to do things, and to some extent, they should be allowed to for safety and security.
We're talking about civil rights, we're talking about our privacy, our space. Mm-hmm. I don't think there is such a thing anymore. When you talk about these kind of things, we pretty much, when we're buying that phone, mm-hmm. it asks you for everything that you're giving them access to. You want to give them access to, where you are, what you're doing, so on and so forth. If you don't, the app doesn't work. So you have no choice but to say yes to it. So it's not that you really have a choice. Yes, I want to use a smartphone. I'm paying for the service. Damn it, I'm paying a lot of money for this service. But at the end of the day, I don't have an option but to agree to it to make that device work. So we're feeding into it too. But the question then becomes, are they selling this information elsewhere? No way to go into the break, but mm-hmm. tell me real quick, does this information get sold? Which is a question that our viewers have asked us.
Absolutely. Information gets sold multiple times. Analogy to this is your credit card profiles. Mm-hmm. You and I don't own our credit profiles. The 3 reporting unions do, mm-hmm. and then they sell it to banks, insurance companies, and so on. Mm-hmm. And for about 30 years, they always argued in court and government actions and private actions that consumers have no right to this information. And in the 1990s, when the FTC finally put their foot down and said, no, you will give consumers right to the credit profile, within 90 days, every one of them had the freecreditreport.com, and now they're charging us $15 to $30 a month yes. to get access to our information. Mm-hmm. It took investigation by the FTC, it took an act of Congress to give us legal rights to our information. And in Europe, for example, they have the right to their own data. So about 4 years ago, a law student in Germany Austria. He wrote to Facebook and said, give me all my data that you have on me. And by the way, here's a lot that lets me request this information. Facebook sent him back a CD containing 800 pages of information on his Facebook profile. Now, Facebook's an American corporation headquartered in California. Guess what? If you're an EU citizen, you can get that information. If you're American or Canadian citizen, you ask for the same information, they tell you go pound sand.
Really?
Because legally in the US, they don't have to give us that information. Whereas in EU, they're required to. So we as consumers, it took about 20 years of our credit profiles getting misused, stolen, being corrupted for us to demand the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Similarly, we need to have the Fair Digital Profile Act. And we as citizens and consumers need to demand from our law enforcement updated laws giving us the right to at least verify the information is correct. Because just with the credit reports, you can't get a loan or a car or in some cases a job without them. And if information's wrong, say goodbye to your great mortgage.
Exactly.
If your social profile is wrong, say goodbye to that job.
Well, we'll take a short break and we'll come back and we'll talk more about this. एक छोटा सा break like ऐसे हुने ही वापस आने and we're going to talk about how we might be compromising ourselves, our own security. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. बात ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਹੈ ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ Mr. Raj Goel ਨਾਲ from BrainLink and we're talking about how the government is spying on us and of course think about when we talk about government spying on us I want to come back and ask you Disney.
So
what is this big thing Disney spying on us?
So last fall I was doing a presentation at Disney World in Florida on privacy and security and I said, you know what, I'm in the happiest place on earth. I see cameras everywhere, and actually when I checked into the hotel, I didn't get a room key. I didn't get a magnetic card. I got a wristband, looks like a Mickey Mouse watch without a clock face. It has Mickey's face on it. You're supposed to wear it on your wrist. This was my room key. This was my charge card for anything I wanted on property. This is my access to the parks. And so I got thinking, on the one hand, this is a really neat piece of technology. I don't have to carry cash. I don't have to carry a credit card. I don't have to take that little card that I might lose in this pool or something. It's always there. What a great piece of technology. Now, what are the downsides to it? The way I'm wired, I look at everything and go, okay, here's the pros, what are the cons? So I did research on it, and here's what we discovered. First off, Disney is one of the largest holders of patents in privacy and surveillance in the world.
Really?
And after 9/11, the NSA actually hired Disney's head of research, their head of Imagineering, and then about a year later, they hired his second in command because they realized, Disney has an interesting problem. They've got clientele fans from all over the world. Now, Disneyland Florida has customers coming in from hundreds of odd countries, speaking multiple languages, and Disney wanted to remove all the roadblocks they could to having a happier experience and making more money doing it. When you can give your 2-year-old her own wristband with Mickey or Minnie on it, or The Incredibles, she's really excited. This also means that if she wants to buy a candy bar or milk or whatever, she can swipe her wrist and do it. And Disney as a corporation wants to create lifelong customers, so they track everything you do online with the Disney websites. They track everything you do on property. One of the things I learned in my research is if you have the Disney wristbands, which are required to have now to be in the parks, as you walk by the characters can actually know whether you like the Snow White, whether you hate Goofy.
How would they know that?
Because your wristband is an RFID tag, just like the Easy Pass in your car. As you walk by the exhibits and tracking your movements, the moment you walk in the park, your data is loaded. And as you walk by different things, the relevant information gets displayed to the people, the performers and actors around you.
Wow.
So if you take your daughter or your kid to Disney World, and you walk up to Snow White, someone will go, "Happy birthday, Gurmeet," or whatever your kid's name is, because the band tells her it's the kid's birthday. It makes that visit so much more special.
Oh my God.
They know when you're sleeping. They know when you're awake. They're like Santa Claus with an unlimited access to your credit card.
That's exactly it, right?
So, and then the other thing they looked at is they need to have cameras everywhere to improve park security, make sure people are not getting harassed and so on. But no one likes looking at surveillance cameras. So Disney actually hired an artist out of Italy to create these great 3D models. Looks like an owl, looks like a bird, looks like Snow White, where the cameras are embedded and hidden inside these really amazing animatronics so that their customers are not freaked out by the cameras everywhere. And so during my presentation afterwards, I asked one of the Disney engineers, based on this data, can you tell me when I'm going to the bathroom? Can you tell me who I'm sleeping with? He hemmed and hawed, and he said, yeah, off the record, yeah.
Really?
Absolutely. If both of you are wearing wristbands, they know when you're going to the bathroom. They know what you're ordering. If you're charging everything to your wristband, which you probably are, they know exactly what you paid for. They know when you're going into your room. They know when you're leaving your room. They know who's in your room.
Here's my question. Where can they draw the line? Today it's this. It's like, slowly giving you the medicine, giving you the taste of it to keep taking it. So today, it's a small phone, right? So it's only tracking where I'm going. Big deal. Okay? Now you're going to tell me we go to Disney and this is the next thing, right? They need to know every single thing. Sure, I would want to put the tracking on someone who's underage if, God forbid, they get lost or something happens, right? But really, to put it on a 35-year-old or 50-year-old person, I think that's a bit much to really know where and who they're with.
Well, it gets better than that. If you go to clubs in Ibiza, a couple of clubs started doing this 5 years ago. You're an adult, you want to come party in their club. You don't bring your ID. You don't walk in with a credit card. They actually put an RFID tag on your skin. Under your skin, they inject you with an RFID chip. This is your entrance card, this is your tracker, this is your credit card, all of the above. In fact, in Mexico and South America and other countries around the world where there are high incidence of kidnapping, parents are paying for the children to be chipped, they're paying for the pets to be chipped.
I agree
Corporations
with
are paying
that.
for their employees to be chipped. So the technology exists. And what we as parents and consumers have to do is look at, is this the right technology for me? For example, I have 2 kids, they're teenagers, to be teenagers. They don't have their own phones. They don't have their own social media accounts. Most of their friends do. And one of the conversations we have practically every 6 months now, it was with my daughter
Only
going,
6 months?
she's learned not to know me more than every 6 months, is, Daddy, when can I have my own Facebook account? Daddy, when can I have my own Twitter account? Answer is when I think you're old enough to drive. Until I can trust my child with the keys to the family car, or I trust her to be old enough to drink, she's not getting her social media accounts. Whereas I see parents who are creating Facebook pages for newborns, they're giving their 7-year-olds social media accounts, giving 10-year-olds smartphones. If you don't educate yourself and you don't educate your children, then at the end of the day, when their privacy is lost or their future is destroyed, you have to take responsibility. The vendors will give us what we pay for. They will give us exactly what the law lets them get away with. And we as citizens, at least in this democracy, have a legal and a moral obligation to fight for better laws, to educate ourselves, educate our lawmakers. Because if we don't, let's look at divorce, for example. In the 50s and 60s, in the US, divorce was, you didn't talk about it. In India, you still don't talk about getting divorced.
Exactly.
When I was in elementary school, somebody's parents got divorced. It was a big deal. By the time I was in college, it was not uncommon to have kids who've got 2 or 3 sets of parents, 3 or 4 sets of grandparents. In a divorce, remarriage, 3rd, 4th marriages were no big deal. No one lost a job because the parents were divorced starting in 1990. In the 70s, if parents were divorced, some law firms wouldn't talk to you. Same thing with social media and the internet. Today, anything the kids put online is public property, public consumption. And we know that every recruiter, every HR person is looking at the profiles. I actually have a presentation I've done over the years on how high school kids and college kids have lost internships, kicked out of college, lost jobs to social media profiling, social media postings rather. And that's available on YouTube and on our website at brainlink.com. It's completely free if you want to educate yourself. And the moral of this is perfectly legal now. We have 3 choices. Either we can stop using technology, which is not going to happen.
Of course.
It's like microwaves. We're not giving them up. Or the other is we can decide as consumers to say no to certain practices. Hey, OnStar, stop tracking me. Hey, Verizon, I'm paying you hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. Stop selling my data to third parties. It's in writing letters to them. And the third is having our laws catch up so that we as American consumers have the same digital rights as Canadians or Germans or the British. Why is it that American corporations are giving Canadians and Germans and the British and the French more rights than they give us? These are not foreign corporations taking away our rights. These are American corporations selling us for an extra nickel because legally they can, because we as consumers are sheep who got new iPhone.
Well, you know what? That's what it is. Like you said, it's us, okay? it's the responsibility lies on us. Okay?
Absolutely,
Our
it always
lawmakers
has.
are not educated enough, and in some of these things, the corporations obviously are going to push it the best way that they can. They'll lobby for it because they want to get their profits out of it. That's really what it boils down to, like everything else.
And as shareholders, isn't that what we want? We have mutual funds. Don't we want the best for our retirement?
So there really is I don't think there is any even play field for anyone. When you talk about consumers and corporations, I don't think there'll ever be an even play field.
There never
on
will
this
be,
one.
because technologies by design is to push the boundaries. You know, the next app, the next wizard, and some things are right for adults, some things are not. Some things are right for children.
Yeah.
You know, it's perfectly okay for adults to drink alcohol and not drive. It's not okay for a 5-year-old to do that.
Yeah.
And when it comes to technology and social media, we don't have those controls. You know, nothing prevents Google or Disney or Facebook or Intel or Microsoft from marketing to a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
Legally, they could not market to 13-year-olds until a couple of years ago. Today, you've got Facebook building Facebook for tweens. You've got Google building Google for tweens.
Yeah.
And we as parents have to say, not in my house. We as business owners have to say, not in my company. We as citizens have to say, not in my county, not in my city, not in my state, not in my country. And this is like every other civil right that we have, or every social right we have. Freedom is not something you can take for granted.
So with that, of course, give me a quick message for our viewers, especially to parents. You know what, since we talk about this, we want to share this with them and we want to educate this to them, that when it comes to putting all the information, someone out there is watching everything that you do. In one way or the other, the government's spying on you. So with that, share your thoughts for the parents who are watching our show.
Well, thank you. So for me, government watching is a social and social issue, but the real challenge for us parents and business owners is future employers and future schools watching. So the best several things you could do: go to brainlink.com and just look at my articles library, or you go to YouTube. I did a video, what to teach your kids, employees, interns about social media. It's about 22 minutes. I recommend you watch it. And then if you like the message, share it with the kids in your life. I wrote an article last summer on how parents are destroying children's privacy before they're born. That's available on our website. I did an article recently in a major magazine on how dating sites are destroying our privacy. So the information's out there. You're welcome to reach out to me at brainlink.com or Raj at brainlink.com. It's also on my LinkedIn profile. I make a lot of my writings available publicly at no charge, because my mission is to educate you so you can decide for yourself what technology, what platforms are right for you in your home, in your family, in your community, because this is a social change that we have to either fight for or stand by as our rights are taken away, and we'll wake up one day with our kids living in a virtual prison like 1984.
Well, thank you so much. We do appreciate it. And thank you for sharing this information, which I know a lot of people didn't know, but it's something that we always need to be reminded of or to be educated about.
It was my pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me. Thank you for watching. And I hope I've added value to your life today.
Thank you. ਉਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ of course ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਚ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਸੋਸ਼ਲ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਦੀ ਲਾਈਫ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਹੋ, ਪਲੀਜ਼ ਐਜ਼ ਅ ਪੇਰੈਂਟ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਰਿਸਪੌਂਸਿਬਿਲਿਟੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅੱਗੇ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਇਨੀਸ਼ੀਏਟਿਵ ਲਓ ਟੂ ਫਾਈਂਡ ਆਊਟ what they're doing, where they are or who they're with. ਇਹ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ social sites ਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਮਿਲਦਾ ਹੈ. Of course ਜੋ ਅੱਗੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ government or ਦੂਜੀ agencies ਕੋਲ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ. So you need to be a little more proactive, a little more vigilant with your child's life or with the stuff that's posted out there, because someone or the other is watching it for sure. Usdin Ali, thank you for giving us the time today and spending these moments with us. Sat Shri Akal.